Warning. Listening to this show may result in increased levels of inspiration, motivation, and innovation. Side effects can include the immediate urge to take massive action to build a better business and life for yourself and others. You've been warned. Welcome to Influencers Radio with your host, Jack Mize.
And we're back on Influencers Radio. And today I'm going to talk about, well, for a lot of us, the most cherished, priceless, what would you call it? Miracles that are part of our lives, and that is our children. And if you have your own children, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you have children in your family that are near to you, you understand what I'm talking about. And if you have children, you've gone through this, because when your child is born, you think this is the most incredible thing, the most beautiful thing that has ever happened. And I want to spend my time with this and take care of this person and fill it with knowledge and love. And then you kind of get kicked back into reality and life kicks in, right? You got to go to work. You have to do other things. And one of the, most common challenges that parents have to navigate is figuring out who is going to take care of my children, when I have to go out and earn a living, when I have to go out and take care of other things. And if any of you have gone through that experience and gone through choosing a child care center for your children, you understand all the things, all the variables that pop up that you never really considered. And if you know anyone that has children, you've probably heard the stories and you know exactly what they're going through. And it's not something that you choose lightly. It's a big decision. And what a lot of people don't realize is that childcare businesses are a business. That's exactly what it is. And you want that to be a successful business, because that is what's going to reflect on the care given to your children. And I know we've all seen stories, and we've seen, good, the bad, and ugly about child care, all the way from the people that take care of the children in their homes to the most elite of elite child care centers out there. It is something that's not going to go away, because I can tell you right now, at least not in our lifetimes, is there going to be a way that you can outsource child care? Is there going to be a way that you can get child care service online? Is there any way that you're going to be able to do a digital child care? Maybe like they do with the pets, where they have the little electronic fence. I don't think they're going to let that happen. And so that's why today's guest to me is a true influencer, because she helps childcare businesses and she helps them create these positive, productive, and profitable childcare programs. And like I said, there's a profit involved, because if they're not profitable, then they're not productive, and it's not going to be a positive experience for you or your children. Today's guest is Julie Bartkus. She is the founder of the Child Care Business Success Movement. Julie, welcome to Influencers Radio.
Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure for me to be able to talk to you, because, my children are older. I have teenagers now, but all of a sudden it brought back this flood of memories of me feeling like a complete dunce when choosing a childcare facility, right? And I went to so many different ones. And after learning about what you do, it makes me go back and realize and see things that I was seeing, but kind of get a better glimpse and understanding of what's occurring in the background. Like we said, the child care industry isn't going away. Right. It's not going away. And there are so many people that start this business. And that's where I want to focus on today, are these people that had a passion. They had a passion for helping children. They have a passion for taking care of children. They have a passion that drove them, that brought them into opening a child care business. And they may be at a point where that passion might be, getting stagnant, or their, business is kicking in. They realize that it's not just passion driven, that now they have staff, they have overhead, they have business, and they have decisions to make to create that balance on making kids happy, making parents happy, and making a staff happy. And they go from being business owner to servant to three masters. Would that be accurate?
It is so true, because in this industry, we have the childcare owner who's so crazy busy, and they have so many hats on. So you're really telling it as it is. And when you were saying that childcare can't be outsourced, I'm like, even if we come up with robots, who's going to want to leave their kid to, the robot watching them while they're at work? I mean, it's never going to happen. So this industry is so incredibly important. And I wholeheartedly agree that every parent knows that it is.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think every parent does. And I think sometimes after talking to you, I think there's a disconnect sometimes between what a child care owner is thinking or projecting what parents are looking for and what parents are really thinking. I know that we talked about, like, child care owners, that price is a big consideration on competing on price, that they feel they have a best price. But I know as a parent, I remember visiting some centers that when they told me the price, I thought, whoa, how can they do this? What are they going to be feeding my kids at this price? This is way too cheap. I would actually discount or remove from consideration a center if they quoted me too low of a price. And I'm thinking that that's something that may not be even, considered by a lot of these child care centers that otherwise are perfectly capable of doing the job. But that one thing, because they think they're competing on price, actually makes them lose probably some of their best prospective customers.
Oh, absolutely. And a true quality program is never the cheapest program in the area. And it's such a common misperception where the owner will think, hey, times are bad, I'm going to lower my prices. But many childcare owners will say that's one of the worst mistakes we ever made. One of my clients, I'll never forget an interview I had with him, and he was saying, oh, when the economy got bad, what we did is we kept our price the same, which wasn't the lowest, wasn't the highest, but we added more services, we gave more value, and people just started seeing the value that this place was giving, and it really made them stand out as the childcare program of choice.
Well, yeah, I think that's it. Even when the economy is bad, even when times are tough financially, that's the one place that I think a lot of people aren't looking to cut back. They're not looking for discount care of their kids. And I think what you just said was very, very important, is that added value is going to be much more important, because the fact is, when times are tough financially, the last thing that you're going to stop is childcare, because you need that in order to be able to go out and work, to be able to go out and earn a living. So what are some of the things that businesses, a lot of the childcare businesses, might be neglecting or ignoring that could have a whole different impact on their business that has nothing to do with reducing price?
With reducing price, sure. I think it always comes back to what value are you adding. Also, I think a big thing is really letting people know who you are. In our childcare programs, we're often looking for how are we unique and how are we different, and here are 25 ways that we're different or better than the childcare program down the road. And I think a lot of our childcare owners sometimes tend to hide behind their business. And really what makes your business unique and incredible is you. And I think you've got to bring that to the forefront of your business to let yourself or your personality shine. And I always think about like Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's, or Sam Walton, Walmart. You kind of have a glimpse into who these people are. And if you like going to Wendy's, you like Dave Thomas. And, so I think you got to get out there a little bit and let yourself be exposed to your community and let them know who you are and make who you are how your program is different.
Well, yeah, I think that's one thing. And also it probably gives you an opportunity to get inside the mind of these parents that you may be, imagining or projecting what their concerns are, what their needs are, what their wants are versus the realities of it. Think about it. as you were talking to me about this, I started thinking, I'll spend money on my kids on stuff, think about when parents spend money on video games, parents spend money on toys, that the actual value of the materials has absolutely nothing to do. That's not commensurate with the price at all. What parents are paying for is to have a happy child. Right. They're paying to have a child that when they're home, they're happy, they've enjoyed their day, they're excited about where they're going to go. I can tell you right there that if when I finally found a place that my children were excited to go to, that to me was the bargain. Didn't matter what price it was. That was the bargain. And so I think what you're saying is getting out into the community and letting people see that this is a place that my kid's going to be excited to go to. This is going to be a place that my kid's going to thrive.
Right.
And then that price doesn't matter after that. I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, you're not going to pay a ridiculous amount, but if it's within your budget, people will pay a little bit more. They will pay something that doesn't necessarily, match up, a dollar for dollar. They're not going to. One, I think people aren't going to choose a child care based strictly on price, and they're not going to pick it strictly on geography. Right. It doesn't. And I think probably from talking to you, a lot of daycare and childcare owners are looking at price and if the people are going to pick because of the lower price or because we're closer. And that's really not the case.
It's not. I've actually had clients that I've worked with where people are driving, if they have something that happens at their center, they move their location like 20 minutes away, and those clients, the parents, follow them because they just want to stay connected. And I love what you're saying too about like little Johnny's happiness. That's what you're looking for with your child care is how are they going to be happy? How the parents going to be happy? So you got to think about too, a lot of the work that I do comes down to relationship building and helping you or the child care owner see how you can do that with parents or with the children through the way that you follow up, through the way that you communicate. And sometimes our technology through email gets in the way of those one-on-one personal relationships that we can be building with people, because we have to remember, we buy based on emotion and, like you said, the word happy. So if somebody comes in to tour your program and they leave feeling happy, they just don't know what it is, but they're happy, they're going to be like, oh, something about that place is the place where we want to go.
Oh, that's exactly right. I can remember the first place I enrolled my oldest son in, that we had no idea what we were doing. We thought, we think we're making the best choice. And it wasn't probably less than a week that I realized, and I couldn't put my finger on it, but this isn't the place that he needs to be. And there's no evidence that the food wasn't quality. There's no evidence that the place looked clean, but there was something about the atmosphere. There was something about the lack of enthusiasm. There was something about that it just didn't seem like a happy place. And now it hits me like it's so obvious after talking with you about this, that reason, because you've got this down to a science. It seems like, the main factors behind this are the childcare owners. One, do they still have that passion for their business, or is it being, is it being smothered by other things? And so we don't, just make it about what it's about price or anything like that. It really comes down to that. Are they passionate about their business? Are they doing the things that keeps the enrollments, the community aspect that you talked about? And one of the big things that I didn't think about is about staffing. I didn't realize what a huge impact and variable that staffing is with not just finding the right people, but motivating and keeping the staff. Can you talk about that and some of the challenges and how you help your clients overcome those?
Yeah, sure. Staff motivation is something that we've been working on for a long time, and it all comes back to your people. People are your power source in your childcare program. And they're often the ones, when I work with clients, it's like, let's not only turn your staff members into your raving fans, but they're actually the people out there in the community, or when parents come into tour, who are selling your program. So they are your power source. So if they're not enthusiastic, if they're not sold on your vision, if they're not bought into that vision, it's going to be really tough to make a sale to a parent. And I have people who will call me and say, we're spending a lot on lead gen from the internet, getting a lot of people coming over. They're touring our program, but then they're not enrolling. So what we want to do is help you put into place a comprehensive step-by-step plan of action for managing, motivating, and retaining great staff. So we really look at different aspects like your vision or how is communication, because as important as communication is to the parents, it's also the biggest place where demotivation happens in your child care program. And some of it could be tied to processes, but some of it is just tied into also, how do we empower our people to communicate? What kind of systems do we have so they can follow through on how we would like them to communicate?
It seems to me an enthusiastic, a motivated, and engaged staff is probably one of the most profitable things that you can have in a child care business, because of what you just said, that you could do all the lead gen that you want, but the bottom line is it's the touch test, right? When they come in and see. And I would imagine, and I haven't talked to you about this, but what is the referral percentage, would you say, in the child care industry of parents that are really happy and excited about where their children are going, that tell others that, we're going here, we're really happy about it, with it, and, you should check it out?
Well, I will say that every person who I talk to in this industry will say that most of their business comes from referrals.
So it seems to me,
I would say like 90%.
So if 90% is referrals, and if you're spending more money on external lead generation, whether it's internet or signs or yellow pages, it seems like you're misspending your budget rather than taking that money and improving the morale, the motivation, and the internal programs that will make people excited about sharing that with others.
Yeah, I recently was in a conversation with a business owner who has about 5 or 6 different programs, and she's like, yeah, we could throw away all of our $20,000 marketing brochures, because if we could get our staff to be enthusiastic about what we're offering and get them to really feel that and live that and convey that, that's the biggest thing that makes a difference in your childcare program. And I know from a parent's perspective, that's what I would want, because I know that my son or my daughter is going to be impacted by that as well. And that's something that they're going to be learning about their life, how to be enthusiastic and how to be happy every day. But if you have staff members who are walking around, frowns on their faces, there's drama, there's negativity, there's gossip, things are overheard, things are misunderstood, and the energy and the morale is just totally depleted, and that dial is turned down. I think about morale like a thermostat, so it's just like way down cold, and parents and potential new staff members can feel that when they walk in.
Yeah, I think, there's so much of that so much of this that isn't, black and white. It's not something that you can, check off a list, because you're dealing with people's children, and you're dealing with an intangible of selling happiness and excitement. So that is important. Now, that we're talking about people that, childcare owners or childcare centers that are wanting to grow their business or trying to figure out how to, get more traction or more momentum or improve what they've done. I know you also work with child care owners that may have traction. They have a passion for their business. They're actually doing the right things as far as, getting enrollment. But what's happened is they may have reached a point where they think that they have possibly hit a plateau because, we can only scrub so hard. We are pretty much, we're close to, our limit on enrollment. But at the end of the day, it's just not producing what I thought it would produce. It's not producing what perhaps I need it to produce. And I know that it has more potential, but I just don't know how to make that happen. What are some of the things that they can do to make that the business that they had envisioned when they first got into it?
Yeah, when we do evaluations with our clients, we're always looking at what I call like the leaky buckets. Everybody wants to build a profitable childcare business, or at least in theory, that's what we think we want. But then when it really gets into the business aspect of it, and our passion starts to go like, I've got all the business stuff to manage now, it becomes difficult. So what we really want to do is take them back to a place where their dreamy vision is in place, but also look at what's leaking out of your bucket. So if your enrollment is getting full, are you charging enough? And like you said, you definitely don't want to go to the cheapest childcare program. So are your rates high enough? Are you, not letting parents not pay their tuition, which is another issue that comes up, where you just have parents who've been there for 2 or 3 weeks and they're not paying, but they say they're going to pay. So part of it is really about setting those good boundaries in place so you make sure that tuition isn't paid, or that tuition is paid, because if people aren't paying for something, how much are they really valuing the experience that you're giving them? So we really want to take a comprehensive look at what's dripping out of your bucket. Do you need to raise your rates? Is it staff motivation? Is it your stress levels about what's going on with your staff? Because a lot of times we could take a look at how much time are we stressing out or procrastinating or not being as productive as we need to be because of everything else that's going on. So you got to look at like, what's my hour, my dollar per hour rate, and how does that calculate in terms of my profits to where I'm actually investing my time. So there are all those kind of factors that are very common to take a look at in the childcare program, all about your time, your staff, your turnover in staff, as well as in parents. But there's also additional lines of revenue that you can be looking at to say, like, okay, if we've got all those pieces in place, what else can we be doing? So we like to get really creative with our clients to think about, from a parent's perspective, what information do parents wish they had that would make their life so much easier that they would gladly pay for?
That's such an important point, and I know that it kind of goes against maybe the mindset of a lot of the childcare owners that we've talked about, is in that additional revenue aspect, that some of them may feel like, oh, but that makes it look like I'm just after money. When in reality, You're providing something that a parent wants. You're providing convenience. Anybody that has been a working parent understands how valuable convenience is. And in the same way that when you go to a podiatrist and they also sell orthotics, or they also sell, foot massagers or anything like that, you don't look at it as, look at this, setting up to build a gold mine. You're thinking this is convenient. Oh, they have these that right here that I can get. What are some examples of that, and how do you help them get over that mindset that that really probably doesn't exist? It's just in their head there.
Well, right, exactly, and that's what I was going to say. It's all about mindset, because you're right, in a traditional setting, you go to the eye doctor, you're buying glasses, you're buying contact lens solution or things to clean your glasses with, and it's all there right for you, so you don't have to go anywhere else, even though you could. So even in our childcare program, it's to really think creatively and think, well, what do the parents want? So, you could survey your parents, but even in just some of the focus groups we've been having with parents, they're like, I wish I had a list of all the different child activities in our area, and that when my child enrolls, it could be an optional $20 thing we purchase from you, where we get all this information handed to us. And then it saves them an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours of researching everything online. So it's really looking at it from parents' perspective, saying what would make their life easier.
And these kind of things is when I had both of my children in a place that we found that we just really enjoyed. We enjoyed the owners, we enjoyed their teachers, everything about it. And, we started getting to know them and having conversations with them. We realized how little, I don't know what the word would be, camaraderie or a network or something where they got together with other child care owners, or there was, some kind of way for them to that advance the industry, and which just blew me away because of how important this industry is. Because you're dealing, these are the people that are around our kids sometimes more than we are during those formative years.
These are your children influencers.
That's
right.
exactly
it.
Is. Right. It is the children influencers, especially before they even get to a grade school, and that was just shocked me. How little masterminding or whatever you would call it that was available. And when you told me about the child care business success movement that you're creating, that sounds exactly like what that is, that there's somewhere that they can turn to evolve these ideas, to evolve the industry as a whole, which in turn will benefit the whole society.
Yeah, and it will benefit, and you asked about mindset a few moments ago, but that will benefit their profitability too. And one of the mindset shifts that you need to have is that when you're servicing a parent, you're actually doing something that makes their life easier. And that's something to really get excited about. And that's where you would put your excitement or your brain power, your thoughts behind that thought instead of, oh my gosh, now I'm going to do this and ask them for more money. But even one simple thing is how cool would it be if your child is going to a child care center and they package up their curriculum so that you can continuously work with that child at home, and it could be optional workbooks or whatever, but it's like, oh, here's the curriculum from our school and this is what we have, so that it's another take home that's an option for those parents who want to push that, yes, I want the best for my kid button.
And to me, when you make that easy, when you make that convenient, and in the child care owner's mind, they think they're making it easy and convenient, but in the parent's mind, oftentimes they're making it within reach. They're making something available that I may have never considered would be within reach or available to me in my circumstances. So, I hate to think that there's a child care owners out there that might be trivializing what they're capable of providing and not making that offer when it can make such a big impact on not just the children, but even the families that in the community as well. And that's what I think makes you truly an influencer is, not just with the childcare businesses, the centers that you've helped and that you've helped grow and turn into these thriving places that take care of our children, but also the fact that the childcare business success movement that you've created that gives them a place and something that they can go to be able to, like I said, evolve these ideas and really grow something that isn't going away. It's not going to be robots. It's not going to be online. It is always going to be a touch, feel, smell, see industry. And what I like to do is find out what is influencing the influencer. What influences you? What has inspired you to do what you are doing that finds its way into the lives and the businesses of your clients and obviously the families that they serve?
Oh, that's such a great question. Thank you. I started speaking back in 1996, and it was based upon other people who were speaking, and their words, 1 or 2 words, 3 words, whatever it was, that they could speak and it would just change my life. And I just started thinking how cool it would be to be able to help people with my words. So I started speaking, started doing different things. And, one of the people who I was listening to was Les Brown.
Ah, yeah.
Les Brown?
Yes,
yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, he says, he has some incredible quotes. He's got some amazing stories. But one of the stories that I share from Les Brown is just about how as a child he was labeled educable, mentally retarded. And it was one teacher at one moment in time who told him, I don't ever want to hear you say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And I'll never forget that, even though I read that 17 years ago, 18 years ago now. But it's a big thing that continues to influence me. And that's the same thing I want for this industry, because there's a lot of stigma attached to childcare or to school, but opinions don't have to become your reality. If you mastermind, if you get into people who are possibility thinkers, who are influencers, you could really open up the floodgates to what is possible for you, and then think about what that says to the children in your care.
Yeah, well, it's incredibly powerful stuff. And that right there is what the influencers radio is about. It's the influence, the fact that, Les Brown and what he wrote, influenced you, but not just that, but what that teacher that influenced him and how this passes down and how it multiplies, even exponentially. And why I love talking to people like you that are planting those seeds that can multiply and create so much difference. How can people find out more? How can daycare owners, child care owners, center owners, people that are in this industry that got into it with a passion, maybe they see that passion fading, maybe they see that this isn't going to work like I think it will work, because I know from, the results that you've had that there is a way to turn it back around, and there is a way to turn this into that business that they, romanticized about when they first got into it, the business that they had that passion for. What can they do to find out more and keep up with what Julie Bartkus is up to?
Yeah, this can absolutely be your dreamy business, and I'm so excited about it and appreciate this opportunity. People can reach out to us, so I'll give you a couple of different places. One is our website, which is motivateteachers.com. And then the other, if you would like, you can give us a call at 1-800-211-5671. And we'd be happy to answer your questions and see how we might be able to best serve you.
Fantastic. Julie Bartkus, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and sharing this information and opening up my eyes to, what is really behind this industry, and also helping me come back to memories that I had from when my children there, and now understanding kind of what was going on behind the scenes as well. So thank you very much for being on Influencers Radio today.
You're very welcome, and thank you.
All right, folks. Definitely, you need to check this out if you are a child care center owner. If you are in this industry, participate in this industry in any way, or you know someone that is participating in this industry, even if you have children that are going to a child care center, share this with them, because ultimately it's going to come back to your children, your child as well. So until next time, remember, you are the only real game changer.
You've been listening to Influencers Radio. To get all past shows and updates on future shows, visit influencersradio.com today or follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/influencersradio.